been too long since I've heard that intro. It's been we've had 2 weeks off, all because I got COVID and couldn't do more than get past like 9 o'clock in the evening. But we're back, as you can see, on the chalkboard. It is DC UK podcast. It's season 4 and episode 9. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. Alongside me, we're going to introduce Daniel Wise first. He is over to my left. Say hello, Daniel Wise, and give yourself a little intro.
Well, hey there, I'm Dan. I have to say, despite the break, not a lot's happened with DC. So, should be a pretty breezy show, pretty easy. I don't think we're going to have any strong opinions or hot takes or anything like that. But you know what? I have been a little bit on fire on Twitter, being the backlash to the backlash with the overall Lasada attitude with DC United. So, eager to get into that. But yeah, I'm so happy to be back. And I just got my plane tickets to DC. So I will be there for the Toronto match. I'm super excited.
Can't wait for that. I just managed to get the visas are all approved. All I need to do is just get through the pre-departure COVID test and all systems are go. Why you guys still do it, I don't know, but apparently you still need a pre-departure COVID test to come into your country. We don't need it over here, but hey-ho. But anyway, down below me, not physically, just virtually, it's Tom Ferguson, who we found out just before the show went live. He went to school in Maryland, where it was the only place that voted for Trump. Welcome to the show, Tom. How are you doing?
Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, I'll just sign off. I wasn't aware when I was a mere high schooler visiting places. I just thought Salisbury was a place near the beach, and then that fall things took a turn, and I was like, oh, now I get it. I was oof, but yeah, man, we are back. 2 weeks off. It's actually nice to come in with on the back of a good result and some interesting news out there. So I'm excited to get going.
Yes, I was right. You rightly said it's nice to be on a high for once. It's been a while since we've had that feeling where we've actually had 2 wins on the bounce. Granted, one of them was against a team in from the dark depths of American soccer, but it's a win's a win.
We'll take it.
Yeah, you got to. Especially after 4 defeats. 4 defeats on the bounce, was it, in the end, I think?
Yeah,
4 defeats. But anyway, as always on these shows with you guys out there, we will do Guest DCWho. We'll go through the news. We'll give our hot takes on the previous match, which we will be covering the New England Revolution game. We will preview the Columbus Crew game this weekend, and we have MLS 101 returns, thanks to Daniel. So he will give us his hot takes on what is educational in the world of MLS.
Yeah.
And we'll answer your questions at the end of the show. So if you've got anything and you're watching live, drop it in the chat and let us know, and we'll answer it later on. So, Guest DCWho. I think I've made it a little bit easy for you guys this week.
It's because we've been absolute crap.
Yeah, pretty much. There's been 0 correct answers so far.
I got one.
I
got that Argentinian lad.
Which one was that? Iron. Let me get my list up.
Yeah, played.
Oh, was that? That was no.
I got his nickname.
You got the nickname.
I'm sorry, I still got it.
But yes, right. This is the player. He's up on screen. Right. But if you're not watching, and you are listening after the fact, this player is a current DC United player. Now, if you don't get this one, you want your DC United card handing in. You're not allowed to support the club ever again. That's how much you need to get this one right this week. Like I say, he's a current DC United player. He's a homegrown, and it's his second spell at the club. So that narrows it down a fair bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give anything more away than that. apart from he's a defensive kind of player. Now, whether that means they're a goalkeeper, whether that means they're a defender or a midfielder, who knows? But it is a second spell at the club. I mean, I think you've got a very good chance of getting this one right. So
let's do it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to give you. If we are struggling somehow towards the end of the show, you may get an extra clue in there. So, like I said, we're going to leave it like that. Take what you want from the silhouette there. Whether that helps you in terms of naming this particular player, we shall see. Any initial thoughts? Any initials you want to give away?
I'm seeing the stride, and it's giving me a pretty good idea. I'm trying to like analyze the hairline a little bit, trying to kind of get a sense of proportions and size, and sort of is he on the taller side? Is he on the shorter side? It's an interesting perspective shot right there. But I think the stride and the aggressiveness and the overall flair that he's showing is giving me a good idea.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel said it. I feel pretty confident.
Cool.
We'll save it, though.
Yeah.
We'll save it.
Cool. If you're watching, if you've got any thoughts, do drop them in the chat. So if you're watching after the fact, let us know. So, on to the news. Should we start with the big one, or should we start some smaller stuff before we move on to the big one, which might take a bit of time?
True. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So, actually, there's one bit of news I want to go after the match review because it kind of ties into that quite a bit. So, the first up I'm going to go with is the fact that we've signed a new backup goalkeeper. Backup for John Kempen, obviously, after his amazing performance, and who is going to be ahead in the pecking order to Bill Hamid, because Bill Hamid's just now gone. Don't care about Bill anymore. Sorry, Bill. We do care about you. That's a lie. But we've signed Rafael Romo, who is from Venezuela, who signed on a free. He's come in. Now, he was a former teammate to Hernan Losada, who we will talk about in a brief moment. Thoughts on this one after the John Kempen performance from the weekend?
He's got some Serie A experience, and I have I don't know, I have a lot of respect for keepers who play in that league, who come from Italy and just have that overall experience. So like anyone with that kind of experience. I think he was with Udinese. Was it?
Yeah.
And Atalanta was the other team he played for, if you have that information pulled up.
All I've got on his wiki page is just Udinese.
Wasn't just Udinese. Okay.
Yeah, he's spent time. So just to kind of give you the rundown of his career, Llaneros is where he started his career. Then he moved to Udinese in 2009. But then he's had loan spells at Estudiantes Merida, Mineros, Watford.
Hey!
It's a random one.
Yeah. Didn't make any appearances, but he spent some time at Watford. Limassol in Cyprus. Apoel, again in Cyprus, Apoel Nicosia. And then he moved to Bescott, which is where he lined up with Losada in 2017-2018. We made 40 appearances that season.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he moved to Silkeborg. I think that's Sweden.
It's a real journeyman right there.
I was going to say Denmark, but it's Denmark. The COVID brain. We're going to go with that one. Any mistakes I'm going to make, COVID brain. Then he moved to Leuven back in Belgium. And then he's now with us. So he's made 4 appearances internationally for the under-20 team and 13 appearances for the Venezuelan senior team. So he's got quite a bit of experience behind him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. 6'5".
Oh, he's a big boy.
No, he's not.
Well, to you.
Yeah. I think he's similar height
over here.
I think he's same height as Donny Pines.
Okay. Wow.
So that kind of gives you it's kind of the idea of how big he actually is.
How tall is Kempen?
Let's have a look. John Kempen. I feel like I should get him on the show at some point.
That'd be great.
I have to apologize so much.
So John Kempen stands at 6'1".
Oh wow.
6'1". He's a tiny boy. A naughty boy. He's just a tiny boy.
Yeah.
Bill stands at 6'3".
He's a big 6'3" though. Like he made.
He's a big 6'3".
I'm a pretty decently sized 5'11", and he made me look like a child. So he's just built. So yeah, wow.
Yeah. There you go. So Bill's the middle guy. Rafa is the tall guy, and John's the short guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's keep it department. So there you go. Other transfer news, not news, but rumors, which has made Sky Sports news over here as well, because it involves a player who's played in the UK, and my phone's decided to think I was saying the phrase that is from that big search engine, and started to respond to me.
And before we go into this, I'll just say
exactly what he's about to.
I know what he's going to say.
The boy with the anime avatar called this weeks ago before we went on the break. Well, before any of this news. So I just want to say, Mr. Levian, if you're listening, I have a few more ideas. I'd love to, maybe in a consultation degree, maybe just come in for a visit or something. But this is a pat my back, subject matter expert type of situation.
I think it was in response to who would we want who would be available, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the news that Gareth Bale is in discussions with DC United to come at the end of his contract at Real Madrid. It will be Wales Golf DC rather than Wales Golf Madrid. But I'll take that because he is a cracking player. Yeah. Granted, he's not played a lot over the last few years because of reasons, injuries, issues with club. But, he's still got that talent and he can absolutely destroy MLS defenses.
Yeah.
And you think we would need someone who's great at the set piece. He's a great free kick taker.
Mm-hmm.
He can run at defenses. And yeah, he's just going to be, if this does actually happen, it's really going to turn heads and it'll end up being like, my big question to you guys is, if this does happen, is it going to be at the same level as the Rooney move?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Man. Okay.
Why is that?
The thing with Rooney is that Rooney came into a team that Ben Olsen was barely coaching. Rooney basically saved that man's career.
He did. Yes.
He literally carried that entire team on his back. He played up top, attacking midfield, and we all know from the Orlando game, a fantastic right back. It's early to say, is Gareth going to take it seriously? Rooney's always just been a competitor. Bale, what was it? Wales, Golf, Madrid.
Yeah.
In that order. I mean, I just hope he takes it seriously. It could be something really good, or it could be an absolute waste.
I love this comment.
Yeah, I would like that.
That would be insane. I can't see
Rooney
ever leaving. Well, I mean, I can obviously see Rooney leaving Derby, but Derby to DC.
I feel like if Everton survives somehow, they're gonna chuck Frank Lampard and get Rooney in there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the perfect move for Rooney.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They've already acquired once, so
yeah. The only reason why he didn't go is because he still had the job to do at Derby, which now it's kind of finalised, but to me, I still think Rooney would be the kind of character who would want to try and get Derby promoted back into the Championship. I think he's that kind of guy who would happily spend a season in League One to see if he can do it.
Yeah.
Granted, it would probably bankrupt them, but don't try.
I was going to say, it depends what's happening in that front office because it's a mess.
Well, to be fair, I think he was eventually paying the players and paying for the club equipment and all sorts, and he actually gave his number to the fans.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got 3 boys. I'm not sure if he wants to have, 23 more, 22 more. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll see what his offers are like over the summer.
Yeah. We've got a little hello for you, Tom, there.
That's Josh. What's up, Josh? That's
there you go.
Josh lives in Ipswich. Yeah, so these are my relatives on my mom's side who support Ipswich.
Well, welcome to the show, Josh. You're in Ipswich. I'm over on the west side in Gloucestershire. There you go. Cameron has come in with this kind of question. Do you think we would play where Smith would play because Bale has previously played left back and left wing? I don't see that would happen. I think we would still see Smith at left wing back, and I would see, Bale would be up top in that front 3.
So I have that's surprising me because I have a different thought. I think it would be as big or even bigger than Rooney in terms of a cultural impact. In terms of butts in the seats. Now Rooney brings them in, but I would say that's kind of among kind of like the soccer heads and the Manchester United crowd.
Yeah.
But there are 2 huge crowds in DC: Real Madrid and Spurs.
Spurs.
There is a surprising Spurs contingency in DC. I was shocked by how many people I've met who are like, yeah, I love Spurs. I got into soccer because of Spurs.
They've won nothing.
They've won nothing. And that is the thing. That is the thing that people love about it is if most people who aren't huge soccer heads, if they kind of go into a team, they kind of go for an underdog or, a hipster team that they can kind of be like, oh, yes, I'm original. I'm unique. But Real Madrid, I mean, I would see those jerseys all over the place. So if you get a guy like Bale in, it's going to bring everyone in there. And I think just overall, I think Bale just brings way more excitement just in terms of his style of play. The way he can still absolutely torch along the touchline. Yeah. He's going to be exciting. And like you said, set piece wizard. And know me, I love a set piece wizard. So he may edge out Branko Boskovic, but only just. But I'm when that popped up, I was like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. So
do you remember why there's such a big Spurs fan base in the U.S.? I'll give you a hint. It's a show now, and it used to be a commercial.
What?
I need to be enlightened about this one.
I was going to say a lot of it is because of the Jewish community, but no, I don't know what you're referencing here.
Premier League was just starting to
Okay, yep.
Yeah. There was a commercial with an American football coach, who went to go and coach a footy team called Tottenham Hotspur. It was on NBC, 10 times a day, and it took off. And now it's a show. But that was back in 06.
Oh,
05, ages ago.
Wow.
And it was when Bale was there.
Yep. Flipping heck.
Ages ago.
Oh, I am so sorry about that.
Oh, dear.
Nope. That's bad.
I think that's a forfeit right there.
Yeah, you have to throw it against the wall.
Oh, I think that's the first time that's ever happened on
I'm
this
so
show.
sorry about that.
Oh,
Unprofessional.
just can't get the staff these days, can you?
Oh, that's my cousin.
Yeah, so Josh has just come over and said Tottenham
true.
cleverly named their new stadium Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So when they host the NFL, it gains American interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually good marketing. That it's a really bad name, but it gets the team name out there, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think there's 2 games a season there, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
I remember when they rumored about the Jaguars going to London like full time because their owner Khan, he owns Fulham.
Ah,
Yeah,
fair.
Wow.
he owns Fulham and he owns the Jaguars. It's really weird.
Somebody has to.
And AEW.
And he owns AEW. Yeah, basically he gave that to his son and was like, "Go away." It was like, "Go have fun."
Yep.
Oh man, Cameron's actually coming with another great question, which I hadn't even really thought about, which is thoughts on the next round of the Open Cup.
We have
So-
New Jersey.
So obviously we beat, was it Flower City? From the NISA.
Rochester, I want to say.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was pissing with rain. The
It was.
entire game.
That's what I've heard. Obviously, couldn't watch it. Well, I couldn't really watch it because it was only on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Unless you went onto the Discord group and watched it on there.
Virtually unwatchable anyway.
Yeah.
For about 3/4 of that match.
Really.
Yeah.
That
It was
bad.
it was just shapes moving in rain, and
Oof.
like no one was playing well. It was crap.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so we've got Red Bulls in the next round.
Yeah, boy.
Yes. When is that game happening? Is that June, July time?
I want to say that's June.
I have no idea.
Let me just pull that up real quick.
Yeah, just getting the schedule up myself as well. Talk amongst yourselves whilst we're loading our.
Yeah, we're
internet.
looking at no, actually it's sooner. It's May 10th.
Oh, it's in 2 weeks.
It is
What?
in 2 weeks. Yes, it is.
Oh,
It
I
is
thought it was
right
later
after-
than that.
It is right
All right.
after that. Wait. Okay, yeah, no, it's right after that Houston match. They get it May 10th, and Houston is May 7th. So
Ugh.
this is a stretch right here. This is a bang run of the schedule between Columbus, Houston, and then Red Bulls.
Yeah, the next just over 2 weeks of fixtures. We've got four games.
Yep, that's
which
wild.
is just insane. So it's going to be pretty full on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 7 matches in May.
That's crazy.
7?
So
That's a lot.
7 matches in May.
My lord. All right.
And then we get to June and we got 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What? It makes no sense.
Classic MLS scheduling.
Donnie G, just calling the shots. I love it. Just good,
It's just
good
mad.
job, Garber.
I think he just does it for fun,
But
honestly.
And then we get
It's
to
like, watch
July.
this. Watch
July.
this. We're gonna give them 7 in May.
And with no US Open Cup in July, we've got 6 games.
Yep.
What is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening in June? Like, is there a break? Is it a 2-week break?
Is there an international fixtures?
Well, I bet there are a bunch of international friendlies going on, tuning up for the World Cup.
We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You're gonna have to take it up with FIFA there. I'm only speculating.
It's all right. We've got another 6 fixtures in August as well.
Yep.
And then 5 in September. Because it starts easing down. And then we've got the 2 games in October where the last game of the season against Cincinnati, the kickoff time is to be decided.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea.
Well, come on.
Well, what? We've had the random rescheduling with was it LA Galaxy?
LAFC.
LAFC. FC, yeah. So
Yeah.
who knows?
There was that one and the NYCFC match that was rearranged because that was supposed to happen on my birthday, but got delayed because they were in the CONCACAF Champions League.
Boy, that's going to be a wild finish. Pumas versus Seattle Sounders.
That's going to be good.
Heck of a final.
Yeah. Who do you reckon is going to win that one, just quickly?
Seattle's got to be the favorites. Probably one of the better teams to come around in the Champions League in a while. So if they don't pull it off, and I think Pumas is totally beatable. So should be a win.
I mean, for me, in terms of MLS, it would be great for MLS as a league to actually win the CONCACAF Champions League. So, and I think don't the winners of the Champions League go to the Club World Cup?
That's correct.
Thought so.
They have to go play someone fantastic.
No, don't even get me started on the Club World Cup. What an appalling tournament that is.
That's pointless.
It's just, I mean, I don't know whether you guys out there who were listening and whatnot, who play Football Manager. Oh my God. It comes to the if you
the worst part.
Playing in the winter leagues like most nations do, you get to the end of the season, you're like, right, cool, get the holidays in, get the preseason. Oh no, wait, you've got the Club World Cup where you can select 23 players. There's no age rules where you can have unlimited under 21 players or anything. It's strictly 23 players, and the games are every other day, so you get no respite. It just makes no sense. But, there you go. I'm going to blame Qatar for that.
Good call.
Yeah, why not? Anyway.
Pumas are in 12th.
Sorry?
They're in 12th in their league.
Pumas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's okay, yeah. Seattle's winning that one.
Yep.
You'd think so. Cameron is also excited for the Bayern match.
That'll be good. I went to the Real Betis one. That was fun. A couple years ago.
Yeah. I think we got beat 5-2 on that one or something, wasn't it? 5-1, 5-2.
Yeah, we had what's his name? Who was the backup for Rooney?
Quincy?
Yeah, love
America. He was the first
he scored.
First DC United player to come onto this podcast.
Is really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Back in the day, in the first season of the show, I managed to speak to a couple of guys, and they managed to get him on. And what an absolute legend he was!
Yeah,
I just loved his antics, talking. Yeah, I'm rent free in your head.
Yep.
And he was doing the crying.
Literally, when I interviewed him, it was the day after the Galaxy game when he was absolutely in Zlatan's face.
Yeah,
It was what an interview. If you get the opportunity to go back and listen to it, really do listen to it. It's fantastic.
That was heavy Wilshere and Fellaini vibes. If you remember that, where Wilshere got in his face, Fellaini's like, "What is this?"
Just a really sharp bloke against a massive guy. Honestly, love that game.
Fellaini didn't have antics; he was just violent.
Yeah, he was.
He was just hitting people.
Oh, I mean, you would with that hairstyle, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then when he shaved it all off, he looked like a completely different person. I was like, "Where's it gone?"
Oh dear. Anyway, we're still on news. We're half an hour in, and we still haven't even talked about the last game. But the other big sort of bit of news. Firstly, Briant is promoted to assistant coach of DC United after spending some time down in Loudoun United, and the reason for that is obviously Hernan was fired from his role after the US Open Cup game that we were just previously speaking about. Chad Ashton has come in as interim coach for the foreseeable future. There was a little bit of news coming out today around the legality of that hiring, but because it's interim and it is just to the end of the season, apparently it's all above board. So Chad, we have Chad Ball going forward now after Losada Ball. We spoke about it before we went live, but I know, Daniel, you've got some hot takes. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm going to sit back on this one.
So, okay. Here's the thing. It was shocking to everyone what happened with Losada. It's one of those things where, like, it was an ugly, ugly game in Rochester. And then when you see that, like, immediately when he came home, basically he got the call that, hey, we're having a meeting tomorrow morning. And that was pretty much it, probably. And then, they broke the news to him. Word came out. People at first were like, no, this can't be real. But eventually, it did turn out. And then the wailing immediately after that was insane. I think, and I can understand it because it is the grieving period, because Losada did come in and he sort of set a tone for the team, for the franchise, and sort of in that initial breakout, where no news was coming out, it was tough to tell, like, exactly what was going on. But as more word came out, specifically from a really good article in The Athletic, kind of gave insight into what was going on with the team. And essentially how it breaks down is that it wasn't necessarily a performance thing. It was death by 1,000 cuts. And this is the easiest way for someone to get fired. Is one, it was the way he was conducting training. Two, it was the way he was conducting fitness and the overall tone with players. Third thing was a lack of communication, or perhaps having a fallout with certain players, where essentially he came down to, like, an effort. I'm going to have, like, an intermediary talk to you. Fourth was, yes, having that slide of losses. But fifth, and this is huge, is, hey, you know what? As much as the ownership class sucks and, like, everyone wants to be all, like, punk rock and, step up to authority, blah, 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 whatever. If you're in that position, you gotta play ball. And and here's the thing, you can resist as much as you want, but if you lose your advocates and you have no one pushing back, like if someone wants you fired and you have no allies, that is the easiest decision to make. Especially when you're coming out and you're talking about how the ownership lacks ambition, that they're not spending enough, that essentially you're airing dirty laundry that does not need to be aired. Well, and like that message does not need to be coming from the manager. So, and you know what, as whatever corporate this sounds, you got to play ball. And he just refused to do that. He lost his advocates and now he's fired. So then on top of that, you had a lot of people saying, this was a conspiracy, this was an inside job, what have you, and they don't recognize tactical genius. Tactical genius? I am a football manager poser at best, and I was even saying last season, halfway through, that it's the easiest system to figure out. As long as you have a fast winger and you got, someone who can accurately hit a long ball, you're going to get past that every single time. You had a bunch of idiots talking about the best prayer that, like, New York had was, like, you just have to get on the attacking end and just whip balls in there. No, the best way you do that is you bring DC in, you keep your attackers as high up the field as you can, and then you just get it out to them. That's the easiest way to beat DC, and that's how DC got torched time and time again. Yeah. And Losada was talking about how he'd rather win a game 5-4 than 1-0. Well, what are you doing when you're losing games 5-0, 3-0? What's that attacking? Where's that attacking tactical genius there? He was a 500 coach in Europe. He's a 500 coach in MLS, and what he is he's Mourinho without the money. It's mystique and halo effect, and that's it. That's all people fell in love with him. To call that a tactical genius, the El Profe. This is marketing. You know who El Profe is? That's Cruyff. That's Sir Alex Ferguson. That's El Profe. He's nowhere near El Profe. That was marketing, and so many people bought caseloads of Crystal Pepsi in this situation. I'm not saying he's a fraud, but he was punching way above his weight. And I don't even think punching way above his weight. He was peacocking way above his weight. And that's it. That's how that all boils down. So that's where I'm at.
That's a hot take. That is a hot take. I mean, and I'll happily admit that I was sold on him, especially when you looked at the first sort of couple of results where we beat NYCFC at home thanks to an amazing Brendan Hindsight goal and that Russell Knaus volley from the edge of the box, and it looked like, and there was a lot of, in those early days, a lot of attacking intent. Yes, it was difficult, and we were making excuses about it's the early days. We've had 10 years of Benny Ball. It's going to be difficult to get out of that. And as you know, I'm a very patient kind of guy. But when you look at not just at the start of this season where we had those 2 wins, which were dubious wins at best, especially against Cincinnati, where we had to rely on a 96-minute penalty against one of the worst teams in this league. That was a difficult take on that one. Then you lose 4 games on the bounce. You look at the end of last season where we just fell apart.
Yeah.
And you add those 2 together, and I think we had 4 wins in 15 or something along those lines, if I remember rightly. Mm-hmm. If you just look at that as a whole, I think that's what Jason Levin was saying when he spoke to Goff and that article came out. When you look at that and you look at that at face value, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And this is, and I think I put it in the DCUK chat, it's a results-based business.
Yeah.
That's what football is. It's results. And if you're not getting results, you're out the door. It doesn't matter who you are. You look at Mourinho, he doesn't last more than 3 seasons at any club.
It's the Mourinho effect.
Yeah. It's the unfortunate thing now. Ever since Roman Abramovich came in and spent loads of money on his team, it's all about business because you want that return on investment. And if that's not happening, granted, investment is another matter entirely with his front office, but we still want that roof. We just need it, and we need the wins. We're a club that has got steeped in history. Granted, that history hasn't done much since 2004, where we had the last MLS Cup. Yes, we had that US Open Cup win in 2013, but in 18 years, it's been a dire state, this club.
Yeah.
And something does need to change. And unfortunately for Hernan, he's that change. He's had to go out the door. You look at Chad's records when he was interim boss between Ben and Hernan, he did all right. He played a solid 4-4-2. He got some good results against some decent teams. And it wasn't actually all that bad. I think people, when they look at Chad, they think of Ben. And that's the unfortunate thing for Chad is he's been around for donkey's years. It's just one of those things where he's just got that connotation about him where it's just like Chad must be Ben because he was there when Ben was coach. So he's going to be exactly the same thing. But now you know what? You looked at the New England game, which we'll talk about very, very shortly. There is actually some good stuff about Chad, and I'm keen to see how he does over the next few games, and that'll, for me, to give my full thoughts on how he's doing, I'll happily give him to the end of May, and that's when I'll make my final decision whether he should stay or go.
Yeah.
And then Tom, I mean, you've obviously been quite quiet over the last sort of 5-10 minutes. What's your hot take?
Well, first of all, with everything that you guys were saying, retweet for sure. I was losing confidence in him, but the thing is when we got to the end of Ben Olsen, it was becoming unbearable. The games were so dry, and like it wasn't even like we were getting results. It was just terrible all the way through. And so, Losada was this fresh, new, coach. We're like, yes, finally things are going to change. He's going to implement his system. The difference with how Chad coaches and the ways that Ben Olsen coached and the way that Losada coached is they wanted to have their system, what they're known for, and they wanted to make the team play it. Now, that's great. Sometimes it works for some coaches, sometimes it doesn't. But with Chad, what he does is he just plays to what he knows is the team's strengths. Sure, maybe it doesn't work all the time. Maybe it does work. But we have a better chance of winning games when players are doing stuff that they're comfortable with doing, playing the way that they're comfortable. Trying to force us into this crazy pressing where we end up having no one in the back. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely time. I mean, it kind of feels like a waste, honestly. There's been
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's a waste because you look at what
I know it's not
I
going
don't know
to
whether
be
it's Losada,
but
yeah.
like I know it's not going to be a quick turn. I'm a Man United fan. It's not. I know it's not going to be a quick turnaround.
No.
Like I know it's going to be years of trying to build the team the best it can. But like, yeah, I just has he really like achieved anything substantial apart from getting his driver's permit? Like that's about it.
And a girlfriend.
Oh, and he got a girlfriend. Great. I mean, go on 90 Day Fiance. We're here to win games. Like this. That's what we want. Yeah. I mean, who didn't see it writing the writing on the wall? Of course, it was surprising how few games it was.
Yeah.
But like he wasn't getting results.
No.
You could tell.
I think what really irked a lot of fans is the fact that we brought in Taxi early.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get a full 90 minutes out of Taxi before he was gone. There was no opportunity for things to turn around from that. Granted, no player you shouldn't rely on one player to change your fortunes, but you should. Well, yeah, Rudy would beg to differ on that one. But it would have been nice to see what Losada could have done with Taxi.
Yeah.
I think that's what irked a lot of people. And I think there was that whole thing with the Birnbaum issue as well, with the US Open Cup game, when that was rumored to be an issue where Birnbaum was prevented from going to Rochester to play. I think that, and the reasons behind that, which I'm not going to go into because I don't know the definitive behind it, that seemed to irk a lot of fans off. But we've got a fan question for later on in the show about the whole Losada thing and fan situation. But going on that, this came in during the chat from Victor, which is, what was Losada's ceiling if he got all the plays he wanted? Now, I've got a little answer for this one because this, I know Dave Casper and Lucy have met up with the support groups last night, I think it was. And I know Jason Levian came out and said that in that post, that article in the Washington Post with Goff about us not being, we're never going to be the top spenders and we're going to be middle of the park. So does that mean we're a middle of the park team? Jason wants to spoil us with trophies and everything, but it doesn't sound like he's going to put his money where his mouth is. I know that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and that's it's valid to say that like it's frustrating that the ownership seems to be fine with that type of situation. And I can also see it from that perspective as an Arsenal fan. The second the Emirates went up, Arsenal dropped to relative mediocrity. Less we knew that like there was a more mediocre Arsenal that would come down the line, but when it comes to opening a new stadium, plus for for what it's worth, an incomplete stadium with the roof plan that they have going on, it's expensive, and there's a lot of accounting that needs to go into that. So it's gonna be more of that. So I can see where they're like, hey, we have a house to kind of hold here, but at the same time, don't be saying you want to spoil us with trophies if you're not willing to go for it. So yeah, it's frustrating hearing that sort of double speak right there.
The other thing, and this is I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. Prize money.
Yeah,
you can spend all this money, but it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of prize money in MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there isn't. I also find it really ironic that they said we're never going to be the big spenders on anything, but we're linked to Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
How much is he getting paid?
I think the numbers are $5.5 million a year, which works out as roughly just over $100,000 a week.
Is that what he would get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, when you compare him to what he's been on at Madrid, that's a massive pay cut.
He gets paid like $600,000 a week to play for Wales.
Yeah.
Every
other month.
It's absurd. He's got the life right now.
He's got such a good life, and just on that, Heather, dropping in on the chat there.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been quite perfectly timed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
These rumors. So, anyway, should we end the news and actually move on to the game from the weekend?
We've been slowly chugging on.
Yeah. I mean, we could literally spend an entire show just going on about that news. But right. So let me bring up the stats from the game at the weekend. Now, as you know, obviously I've had COVID over the last couple of weeks. Knocked me for 6. So I've not watched it, but I'm just going to run through the stats, and these is where Tom and Daniel, you're going to take it away from these. But obviously we beat New England 3-2, back to winning ways after Chad Ball came in. Possession, quite scary. Just under 32% possession we've had. We only had 11 shots, which doesn't surprise me too much when you think about how the game played out. Obviously, New England would have wanted to attack towards the end to bring themselves back into the game. Mm-hmm. 5 shots on target, just the 1 offside, 11 fouls, which I think is the lowest for a very long time. And an expected goals of 1.6. Not too shabby there. We've outperformed on that side of things. But I'm going to let you guys take it away and talk about the game, because, I've watched the highlights. That's pretty much it, which was 7.5 minutes worth.
It was okay. It was
a tale of two halves.
Yeah, it was exciting. First half was great. Mm-hmm. It was all over the place. Surprised that XG was only 1.6 with Estrada getting a header inside the.
That was probably the 1.6 because Taxi's first goal was. Yeah. It shouldn't have gone in because the keeper was just
completely asleep. Yeah.
And then the second goal, the keeper fell asleep again.
Yeah, he did a Kempen of old save. You
took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking, was Kempen playing for New England?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he did. It was sort of like when the Monstars came down in Space Jam and took. I feel like Kempen just went and took an actual solid goalkeeper's skills, because he actually had a great game. I was surprised. I gotta apologize.
The two goals he gave up were not easy.
No.
First one was nuts. That was a outside the 18-yard box. A lot of traffic in there. But it was just one of those low, fast drives. And he got there, he was there for it, but it was just such a fast strike.
Yeah.
That's so tough. Second one was, kind of one of those glancing headers that just came in real awkwardly and just was not not an easy save as well. So kind of like one of those low drives that just really got past him. But take those and then look at, sort of the Jesus saves he made in the game. He was incredible. Bill Hamid-esque, if I'll say, on some of those. Especially a really scary one coming from Altidore, where it was a strong header. He bobbled it a bit, and the Altidore came in to get it again, but he held strong to it. And man, just a really fearless performance, and he looked like a good leader out there, much more than sort of the spell he had last season. So it was really good to see that.
I think it could get worse from that spell last season.
Do you think the reason why he's put in a good performance is because he knows that there's been somebody else who's coming in, so he knows he has to step up to keep his place? And
competition is perfect. I think about Man United when they had Luke Shaw being terrible. They went and got Alex Tellez, and then he had his best season ever.
Yep.
Just come on, man. Same with De Gea. De Gea was terrible. They got Henderson. Give him a couple first-team starts. Oh, look, he's playing great. I don't think either one of Kempin or the Roma guy are going to be taking Bill's spot. We'll see how his injury does. But, competition's good. You want that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you were crying out for a number 8 as well. And we've got that. So we've got a bit more competition in the middle of the field.
Yep.
The roster's not looking actually that bad. And I know a lot of people are saying this is not an MLS Cup winning team or anything like that, but it's strong enough to be decent in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make playoffs. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at the table as it stands at the moment, we're not actually that far off. I know we've got a game in hand as well, because obviously the postponement to the NYCFC game. So if we win that, we're 1 point away from playoffs, which, considering the 4 defeats on the bounce, doesn't actually seem all that. Actually, no. We win our game in hand. We then move on to 12 points because we're currently on 9.
Mm-hmm.
Being 4th.
Well, I'm going to take NYC having a win because of their game in hand as well. So we'd be 5th place.
Yeah.
Which actually doesn't seem that bad after all.
It looks horrible right now.
It looks horrendous right now. It looked even worse before the game from the weekend. But because I think we were bottom.
We were bottom.
So, that's the thing. Because it is so early on, things can swing around so much. And that was another reason why Losada was fired this early on, is the fact that it gives us the opportunity to turn the season around and actually still have a great chance of making the playoffs. So that's not looking too bad.
It's been goofy in the Eastern Conference this season, though. A couple of teams that were just unstoppable last season. You had New England, and Columbus was really good last season. And
both below us.
Both are below, and both are on multi-game losing streaks. As of now, New England is on a worse streak now than we were at the time. So it's really one of those things where, like, this season's going to go in a lot of different directions, and that's kind of the joy of watching MLS, is all of the different outcomes and how tight it can be.
Yeah, you're right. It's the beauty of MLS. There's no 2 seasons that are exactly the same.
No,
there's no dominant team in this league, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Bundesliga.
How many times have Bayern won it now? Was it
10 years in a row?
Well, you look at Serie A as well, and how many times Juve won it as well.
Yeah, it's getting better because now Inter is fighting back a bit, and then Spain is just interesting. Spain is just a mess.
I think that's going to get really interesting over the next few years.
Yeah. We'll see if the either Haaland or Mbappe goes to one of those, but I have a bad feeling Haaland might be going to Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if Football Manager's anything to go by, he's going to City or Liverpool.
Yep.
And that's just annoying.
And I'll be watching MLS permanently. I will not be spending my weekends watching the Premier League.
Oh, just on things like the conferences, looking at the Western Conference, LAFC are dominating the Western at the moment, 19 points. Austin have had a really good start. Yes, they came back. We almost took them, but they're currently in second place. Galaxy are up there. Dallas are doing well as well. Paul Ariola's new team.
And he's playing good soccer as well. Yeah.
But no surprise, Vancouver Whitecaps are bottom.
Yeah.
They are the Cincinnati of the West.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, just other keynotes. So just before we move on about the New England game, which I thought were quite surprising, the fact that New England had 30 crosses to our 3. 30 crosses.
One of ours was a goal.
Yeah.
I think well, we had the cross for the Estrada goal.
Yeah.
We had the cross for Taxi's goal.
Oh, yeah.
And there was the cross beforehand. So that's the 3 crosses.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
That's
We
efficient, if anything. That's
have any of the crosses.
Not gonna lie, that second half, we had the ball for maybe 7 minutes. It was pretty like
That's weird. That's mad. We had 26 clearances.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah. So there you are. That's just a couple of other stats I wanted to bring up. But moving on to the preview for this weekend's game, which I'm going to do my utmost best to watch because it'll be nice to actually get back into the DCUK chat on a match day. And I'm just going to use that just to highlight if you want to come and join us, head to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. Get in on the chat group because it is absolutely banging every single week, whether it's match day or not. It's just absolutely awesome. And as you can see, me and Daniel are wearing official DC UK merchandise.
Tom's just official.
He's just official, yeah. He's a fanatical official.
I'm staying very well because MLS store had a 50% off sale. I bought you know what I got? I got one of those Wayne Rooney shirts.
Oh no.
Right? And it was $6.
Nice.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell people I got this like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now everyone knows.
Now everyone knows. So
yeah. Where's your pint glass?
That's in the dishwasher, but I got my sparkling water.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
You're a sparkling water drinker?
He's one of those. You can tell he's from England.
It's the best.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna let you have that one. Keep the sparkling water. I'll stick to my still. Anyway, this weekend's game is brought to you by Low.com Field. Because what a name for a stadium. Every feels like at the moment every stadium has the word field in it. But
a lot of them have .coms now too.
Yeah,
that's true. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but we are playing Columbus Crew this weekend. It is on April 30th in the US, or for me in the UK. For you guys out there in Europe, UK, elsewhere, it is May the 1st. 7:30 p.m. kickoff Eastern time, 12:30 a.m. kickoff British time.
Fun fact about DC Columbus matchups in Columbus.
Yeah.
It was 9 years ago yesterday marked the Map-Free Stadium scoreboard fire. A game that I was at where DC lost like 3-0, but great still like that is a memory I'll always cherish. Was we would be outside playing a little kickabout, and all of a sudden just black smoke coming out of the stadium, and then waiting like literally like 40 minutes for a fire truck to come around. It was so funny because they had to blast it from outside the stadium. So they were basically just throwing water in, but the fire itself was coming from the inside. So they had to kind of like bust a hole through the back and then just spray it through there.
Jeez.
It was the most absurd thing I've ever seen, but that's neither here nor
A
there.
great picture where the players are just standing there, and then it's just
Yeah. Oh, good times.
Oh, fantastic. Right, let's go through a little rundown, head-to-heads and things like that. So last season, we beat each other, which is fair enough. That's how it tends to go. The last time we beat Columbus Crew twice in the same season was back it wasn't even this millennium. It was 1999. We were partnered like it was 1999 that year. And it was all because we beat Crew twice in the same season. The Crew have lost their last 2 home matches as well, so they're not on a great run as it stands. For DC, only 2 of the last 25 games have ended in a draw, so the likelihood of this game ending in a draw is going to be quite slim. Columbus's last game against Spartan, Kansas was the 4th time in a row they've failed to find the net.
Yep.
So that's a long time without scoring. However, they've never gone 5 without scoring. Ignore the fact that I put Austin's league record on the notes. It's actually Columbus's league record. So far, they've played 8, won 2, drawn 3, and lost 3. They've scored 10 and conceded 9 in their 8 games they've played. So just over a goal a game, both for and against. Their current sort of key players, their DPs, is currently Darlington Nagbay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize he was DP level.
I like him actually.
He's a good player, but I wouldn't have put him at DP.
I feel like he's been around.
Oh,
He's been around a long time, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I was watching him in like 07.
Yeah.
Like, it's been, not that long, but like he's definitely been around.
He has been around a heck of a long time. Because I remember, I think he played for Atlanta United for a brief moment.
Sounds about right.
Didn't he play for Portland or Seattle?
I mean, he probably has played for everyone, to be fair.
It's a name that's always been out there. Like, yeah.
Here we go. Darlington Nagbay, his career. He's only actually played for 3 different MLS teams.
He did play for Portland, though, right?
He did play for Portland from 2011 to 2017. So you weren't too far off with your year.
He's only 31?
Yeah.
It's okay. Sorry. My bad, dude.
Then he moved to Atlanta United in 2018, and he moved to the Crew in 2020, and played 25 times for the US men's national team.
Yeah.
So, he has been around for quite some time, 11 years now. So, he started off young, and he's been, to be fair, pretty solid. But like I said, I never have put him at DP level. But then there's like Michael Bradley. Would I ever put him as DP level? Yeah. That other DP is Lucas Zelarayan, who came into the league at the same time as Edison Flores. I don't think we need to make any comparisons there because we know who's the better player.
Let's just move on.
Yep. They've got a couple of under 22 initiative players, which if you've listened to the podcast previously, you know Daniel has taken us through some of the different levels of contracts in the MLS. Alexandru Matan and Yoya Boa are their 2 under 22 players. Mm-hmm. And they do have a former DC United player in Perry Kitchen, who was the first guest DCWho.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So that is our team, our opposition for this weekend.
It's not our team.
It's not our team anymore. Perry Kitchen's not there. To be fair, I wouldn't mind him back. I kind of liked him when he was playing for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely good when he moved to Hearts in Scotland. Because my dad supports Hearts and I really don't like Hearts. So it's just annoying. But, you know, it happens. Right. But yeah, Perry Kitchen at the Crew. What do we reckon about this weekend's game? How do you think it's going to go?
We haven't done predictions in a while.
No, it's been a few weeks, but we'll come on to that in a moment. Don't get ahead of yourself, Tom.
I feel better about this game than the next one. Houston puts up numbers. That's going to be a scary team to face. But I don't see Columbus turning things around. I think for the most part, DC has found a balance between the aggressive style of Lasada ball, but also having the wherewithal to sort of like adjust and get players back on defense when it's necessary. So like I think they will play a pretty balanced match. I don't see Columbus improving their ways, especially that match against Miami. They're just in a bad form right now. So I do not see that changing, even though it's going to be a home game for them. I think DC comes out, let's say 2-1.
Oh, Tom was going to go for that one, I'm guessing then.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
I mean, you're more than welcome to go with 2.
No, no. That's not fun. No. It's got to be different. It's got to be different. All right. Let me. All right.
Go on.
1-0.
Oh,
okay.
So
I think it's gonna be a stranglehold game.
Who's the 1-0 to?
Oh, we're winning.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you're saying Columbus are going to go 5 games without scoring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're just gonna stranglehold on playing away. Let's say Taxi gets a goal again.
Yeah.
Let's just we're gonna call it we have the Kamara train, but we got
Kamara
Taxi.
hype train, the taxi capture. Well, we're gonna have to come up with something for Taxi. Yeah.
We'll set a meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna have to have something for him.
Yeah. So 1-0, Taxi scores. We strangle the game in the end.
If he dyes his hair red, we can call him Red Top, like Red Top taxi service in DC, long-standing.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Message that we need to put that to him.
Yeah. Let's make the offer.
Yeah. We'll pay for the hair dye.
No. I'll pay for paint, like red paint.
I didn't say it was going to be good hair dye.
I was going to say I'm not paying for that salon. No, thank you.
Before I'm going to give my prediction, Jose's just come in with a prediction. 2-2.
All right.
So he's going to go for that rare draw that we get.
Let's just say
he's also going for some taxi emojis as well.
Solid.
Nice.
Yeah, gotta love that. So I reckon it's going to be a few goals for DC. I think Columbus are going to score because they've got Zillari, and I think he's going to be the guy who gets their goals. I'm thinking Taxi is going to score. I think it's going to be quite similar for us from the New England game. I think I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good game for us. I think Chad Ball is going to go to the next level. I think Kempen's going to play this weekend. I think he's going to get that game because he's a former Crew player as well, remember? So I think it'd be good for Kempen to get that win against his former team at their stadium.
Also was good Saturday.
Sorry?
He was good on Saturday.
Yeah. He deserves another opportunity between the sticks.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say.
Gonna regret that next
podcast. Kevin, if you are actually ever tuned into the show and you're hearing us saying this, we genuinely do mean it. You were great at the weekend, so keep that up. We've got every faith in you.
And I apologize.
And Tom apologized. So, yes. And if you pull out another great performance, I will keep doing Campanator memes.
I like those. So, yes.
Yeah,
please.
And with your permission, I would like to make it into a t-shirt.
I would get that.
Campanator t-shirt.
Yeah. That sounds great.
I might just have to do it anyway.
Yeah. Then you're gonna get sued. So
Or, yeah, I would say if he has a favorite charity or something, propose like a 20 or 30% proceeds type of thing.
That would be good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that sounds like it. Even DC scores or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
That's true.
Cool. Anyway, it's time for the part of the show where Daniel takes over. We have a little rest. Tom gets his stopwatch out because it is that time for MLS 101. So Daniel, what are you taking us through this week?
Well, so I have to give a quick shout out to a member of the DC UK supporter group chat, the longest Angus that has ever known. He brought it to my attention this week about a little entity called MLS Next Pro. Now, for the longest time, for the longest time, like lower league soccer was pretty much USL. NISL and NASL, I think, was like a little bit before that, but that folded and was kind of a disaster. But for a couple of years now, DC, or not DC, but MLS has kind of had a nice warm relationship with USL. And things have been getting a little crowded for them, especially with how many sort of B team MLS sides are entering into MLS League or USL League One. So being that MLS sort of wants to have their own sort of pathway to the pros, they are coming out with MLS Next Pro that has just launched. This is not part of my time. Giving a little context here. Have we started a clock? I don't think we usually.
I mean, we can restart it. It's fine.
Okay.
So shall we start the timer then, Daniel?
Yes, start it now. So unknown to me until this week was the new MLS Next Pro League, which started in 2022 with 21 teams. 20 of those teams are MLS reserve side and one independent club, Rochester, New York FC. For a while, MLS was in a loose agreement with United Soccer League to let their B teams compete in that league. Up until last year, they were part of the USL Championship, but things can kindly be considered congested in lower tier soccer in the US. What MLS needed was a way to solidify their B teams into one league. So one day, MLS hit up US Soccer Federation and said, hey, we want to take a bunch of our reserve sides and create a league for them. After what I'm sure was a big process of paperwork and open obnoxious emojis, strategic planning, closed obnoxious emojis, MLS birthed MLS Next Pro, which I'm not going to lie, kind of sounds like a WWE development territory. The league now consists of 21 teams or 21 founding clubs, which will compete in 24 league games each. There's an 8-team playoff followed by a League Cup final. There's also a promise of future international games, cups, and tournaments, whatever that means. All MLS Next Pro games are streamed on the official website at mlsnextpro.com. So that is where we'll be able to catch Loudoun United games next year when they join the league. So how does MLS Next rosters work? Each club's active roster comprises of 35 players, including 24 professional players and 11 amateur players, all of whom are eligible for selection on game days. There's an interesting wrinkle with amateur players in that they must be under 21 and cannot have played college soccer or for a professional club. Plus, they are or have been affiliated with MLS Academy or MLS affiliated teams in the past. Each club has 7 international roster spots, which can be traded among those teams. And with that, salary rules are pretty lax, actually, compared to Major League Soccer. There's no salary cap, and there is no salary limit or player compensation. Additionally, there are no age limits for pro players, and clubs will be able to assign players directly to an MLS Next Pro agreement. So what does this mean for the impact? in the simplest and probably most reductive way to look at MLS Next Pro is that it's MLS creating its own super league of lower tier soccer. The lower tiers have had their share of tumult over the years, and MLS wanted to create its own system as a development pipeline into MLS proper. MLS ran a reserve league from 2005 through 2014, which included a break in 2009 and 10. Games were canceled and rescheduled constantly. Teams played differing numbers of matches, and rosters were pretty much scattershot. This time, MLS is taking a more structured approach, and they aren't intending to compete with the USL for market share. But in the end, MLS is a business, so we'll have to see what happens. And that's time. Where am I at?
I want to say.
Oh yeah, guesses.
I'm going to say around about 3 minutes 40 seconds.
I'll go 4 minutes 10.
3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh,
wow!
Not too far off. Fair play, Daniel.
That
feels like forever every time I'm reading that.
Yeah, right.
You need to speak a little bit slower next time.
It's one of those presentation things in front of the class where I had this class in college where we had to give a speech in 5 minutes, no less, no over.
Yeah.
And every time kids would go up to like give their speech, they would do it in like a minute, and they would be like, "Was that 5 minutes?" It's like, no. I have a question though. So they don't want any players that played in college
to take the to be in the amateur roles.
Okay.
So they can still play if they've been there, but as a professional rather than an
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Or if they've been affiliated with an academy or an affiliated like non-pro MLS team.
Okay. That makes sense. That's great that makes actually, making it a career path seem better.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that they must have they can only have a maximum of 5 academy players on the field at any given time.
Okay.
Oh, it's a maximum.
Like
yeah.
that.
So it's kind of one of those spreads where like there's clearly not a, we're developing certain players a certain way, or like we have our certain players knocked out. Like they want to have it kind of spread out among professional, amateur, and academy players.
Yeah. Actually, I suppose that's also a good shout in the fact that you're not just going to send all the big wage players down to MLS Next Pro to get around the wage demands, around the salary cap.
Right.
I can imagine that might be one thing that they've had to really have a think about is if they're not putting any salary rules in MLS Next Pro, do you, for a couple of weeks, if you need to have that little bit of roster space, salary cap space, do you just send the big guys, send Higuain down to MLS Next Pro?
Whew.
Could you imagine
That'd be weird.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Thank you for that, Daniel. Any ideas what we're going to get for the next episode? Or have we not thought that far ahead?
No clue. This is honestly like one of those things where like when it comes to about Tuesday, I'm like, oh God, what do I need to be looking at here? So I'll let you know around that time.
Yeah. To be fair, that's better than my guest DCWho, which I did at an hour before the show.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the end of MLS 101 this week. I do love the tunes.
I know. I was just bobbing my head.
Yeah, so good. Right, so that moves us on to some of the fan questions. And to be fair, I'm just going to get the big one out of the way for you, Tom. Let's get it. Let's pull the plaster off. Let's get it done because Brian has been waiting for so long to get this question answered. Here you go, Tom. So, Tom, why do you hate the US men's national team? What did they do to you to scar you so deep? Is it just them, or is it USA as well? And if so, do you hate apple pie? Is it because of 1950? And do you also hate Haiti?
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 I was thinking Haiti.
It's English.
Definitely don't hate Haiti. What? Do I hate the USA? No. This is something that is going to end up at immigration, and I'm going to get in a huge amount of trouble. So first of all, no, I'm very happy here. I love America. The U.S. men's national team, I think, I don't hate them. I think they're incredibly overrated.
I just saw Daniel's face.
Says the England fan.
It's coming home.
So yeah, it's coming home. I will say I'm still bitter about 2010. 2010.
Yep.
Yeah, 2010. Still bitter. So I actually can't wait. It's gonna be a great match. So, but I don't think you guys have a chance. So yeah, and apple pie. I like pumpkin pie more. So there we go.
Fair enough.
Apple pie is overrated.
Yeah. It can be a little like bland at times. You gotta get the right spices in there.
Get a bit of cinnamon.
Yeah.
Gotta have cinnamon with apple. Apple and cinnamon is like lamb and mince, pork and apple. Oh, sorry, I'm getting hungry now. We've actually had a request for MLS 101.
Oh, I like that.
You know what? Yeah, I'm super into that. I think we were sort of going through a lot of the structural stuff, but yeah, I'm sure with DCUK and kind of branching out into new territory, yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. So let me get my thinking cap on, and I can figure out something good.
Cool. And for those who were just listening, the request was, can we cover some of DC United history for us latecomers? It sounds like an absolute great shout. So, yeah, Daniel will get his thinking cap on and we'll look at that. Jose is sweet potato pie kind of guy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Understandable.
I mean, for me, I'm controversial. Key lime pie.
Oh no, that's delicious. That's delicious. I love it.
Oh, no. I'd make a mean key lime pie. I made it once. Yeah, but key lime. But to be fair, we get loads of great desserts over here from places like Italy, like tiramisu, profiteroles, and all that jazz. So we get
roly-poly cakes.
Sorry,
roly-poly cakes.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had one of those in like 10
Swiss
days.
roll.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many things I miss.
It's fine. I'm bringing biscuits.
Oh, brilliant!
I am bringing biscuits.
I just spent a lot of money on a bottle of Sarson's malt vinegar.
Sorry, what? Why?
Because the malt vinegar here is not good.
It's not.
It's made in Pennsylvania. It's not proper malt vinegar. And I was like, I've had enough. I don't care how much it costs. I'm going to get it. It's going to be made in England, and I'm going to get it shipped over here. So that's what I've done.
And how much does that cost you?
I would not like to say on camera.
Is it more or less than $20?
It's around that number, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not a massive bottle.
Yeah. Is it like a 500 ml bottle?
It's like, yeah. So
I mean, to be fair, that should last you a while. You're not going to drown your chips in vinegar, are you? So fries.
I kind of do. Oh yeah, one of those people who puts it on, and then I have a couple chips, and I go more. Then again, stalled out, start throwing that on. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I have no shame.
Obviously. Right, let's move on to the next question then. So, Victor, who has been in the chat, but sent this question in prior to the show going live over on Instagram. Whoa, it's a big one. Thoughts on the fans who decided to skip games for a while in protest of the Losada firing. So, my initial thoughts are, I get the reason behind the protest. I feel like there's better ways of doing it, because in the grand scheme of things, you look at the attendance from the weekend. The official figure was like 17,500. that really didn't really translate to people skipping the game. So the stadium still looked fairly full. I think the better way of doing the protest is actually visibility rather than the perceived lack of visibility. Whether that comes through in terms of signage, so tifo, flags, whatever. There's another way of doing it, and I think if they want to protest about it, that would have been the better way to do it.
They did that today for the Man United game. They protested outside with the good old green and yellow smoke, flares going out.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. They had a sign in the stands that said Glazers out, but they spelled Glazers wrong. So it was Glorez.
Oh my word.
I was just like, oh no, we're in so much trouble.
And I said it on Twitter. This reeks of just copycat syndrome, where like they see what's happening in England at Manchester United. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the same thing, except
it'll definitely work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I support the club, not the guy.
Yeah, and another thing is support the players. Like a lot of the things that I read were just disgusting, saying like none of these players wanted it, and what Losada brought was just everyday training over in Europe. That's not everyday training, and especially when you're talking about guys who are making millions of dollars in comparison to most of the team being 5 to 6 figure players. Yes, maybe some 7 figures here, but not on the level of most of those European clubs. So you can get rid of that. Another thing is, look, as I've said before, I'm a labor guy. I will always back the workers, whatever shape, form, or whatever they're making. You don't go after players like that. That was the most disgusting. Do whatever you want in terms of like skipping out on game, fine, whatever. But the second you start talking about the players like they don't want it, or they haven't been training, or they're just now getting to the minimum level they need to be, no, that's wrong. You're a bunch of puffed up plastic ultras who have no idea what they're talking about. And there was a lot of systemic problems in how Losada was treating those players. So that just does not fly.
So I know the club tends to do open training sessions once a week to kind of alleviate that side of that point of what you were just saying there about overtraining and gone that. Would you like to see more open training sessions for fans?
Yeah, sure. I mean, here's the thing. Another question I got was like, was this similar to like the Gabriel Hines situation down in Atlanta? Not even close, but I would say to a degree, it was more of a psychological thing because, it was like they were being forced to hydrate rather than having water taken away from them. They were forced to hydrate, but at the same time, they had weekly weigh-ins with this forced hydration. And so they had, from what I imagine, they probably had to balance like when they could eat or what they could eat, and then how much water they're trying to maintain in their system. And like it became to the point where they were being treated more or less like robots, like trying to find this min-max efficiency in your intake to training ratio. And like at a certain point you gotta get rid of those data points and just let them be human beings. It's weird and gross.
Yeah, and Heather's just piped up there with she thought that the fines for hydration weigh-ins was really gross. And there's better ways of maintaining weight and not just fining players and things like that. So Tom, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, players are people too. Simple. They're people too. We don't need to treat them like trash. And when has treating players like trash and berating them, when has that ever made them be like, oh, I really want to try for this guy?
Yeah.
What do you think? I understand like voicing your frustrations. When you're just outright going after someone, you're not going to get the result you're looking for. It's I don't know. I feel like that's something you learn in like kindergarten. It's just yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. So next question should be a fairly simple one. How quickly will Rafa Romo take Campen's job?
Never.
Campinator forever.
Depends on that Houston game. If Kempen just goes lights out and gets like a clean sheet in that game, I think that makes a strong case for him staying as the starter until Hamid comes back.
Which I think Hamid's still got 3 or 4 weeks out.
Yep.
From what I remember. So that would take us to the 1, 2.
It sounds like we're about to have a lot of games.
Yeah, that he could potentially return for my visit.
That'd be good.
Cool.
Yeah, so depending on obviously how it goes, whether it's the 3 weeks or whether it's the 4 weeks. If not, then the return could be potentially against the Red Bulls. So that would either way, it's a good time for Bill to come back, really. But that means that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 games. I know 6, potentially 7 that he'll have missed out on, obviously because of the game of the weekend as well. So that's quite a lot.
Yep.
Just like last year, where we missed him for a good period of time. Cool. Daniel, it's not Daniel, Tom. Romo going to come in and take Kempen's job?
Nah. Short and sweet. It's his to lose. And I think he should have a bit of confidence after the last match. And, I'm all for it. Support your players. Support your players. I'm sorry, Kevin. His to lose. Hope he keeps it up.
Yeah.
Simple.
Absolutely. Fair. Right. The last question that came in. And this has obviously gone on about the Kamara situation, which, if you don't know, Kamara celebrated in the Austin FC game by taking off his shirt. He had a vest on underneath, which had a message on there, which was in dedication to his grandmother, who unfortunately recently passed away in Norway. That was the reason why he did it, which I get the sentiment behind. But the rule's in there for a reason. And I'm not too disappointed with the fact that the rule is there. I think it's a fine rule to have. It's not the end of the world. It's been there for a long time. We shouldn't be taking our shirts off. Yes, there's emotion. There's times where it's like the 97th minute and you scored a winner in the MLS Cup final and you go absolutely mental. Should you get booked for that? Common sense sometimes needs to prevail. I
mean, you know what players do, and they don't get a yellow card, but they can still show messages under their kit. They just lift it. They lift it. They don't take the whole thing off. It's removing the whole shirt that gets you the yellow card. And what minute did he score it again? It was early.
It was an early. It was like the 12th minute or something like that. I think it was.
You get a yellow card in the 12th minute. You take your shirt off. Now you're playing on a yellow for 78 minutes. Like, you know what was going to happen. Then he's running around clipping toes. And, 44th minute, second yellow card. It's just, look, I get the sentiment, wanting to show respect to family, but you got to, there are rules for a reason.
Yeah.
Here's how we fix this whole situation. You get rid of the rule. These are not naughty boys.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Oh no, we're going down that road again.
These are athletes who have worked incredibly hard to have the ideal human body. And you know what? I think they have every right to take off their shirts whenever they want. So I will say, athletes, I think they need a pass every time when they take a shirt off. I don't think that should count for naughty boy points. They're good boys, not naughty boys. And I support the abolition of the shirtless yellow card.
No.
That's my stance.
So, I mean, I'm both sides on this one, as always. I'm always on the fence, but because I like to see both sides of the argument. There was one player back in the day from when I was a Middlesbrough fan. Well, I'm a Middlesbrough fan, but when I used to go to the games back in the mid-90s, 1996-97 season, I'm thinking about in particular, we'd signed a player who just won the Champions League with Juventus, and he somehow came to the Borough. I think he must have been high or something like that when he signed that contract. But Fabrizio Ravanelli, the white feather, his celebration was always shirt over the head.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that now, you'd get booked every game.
Yeah.
So, and it was a great celebration because it was iconic as well.
Yep.
It was an iconic celebration. So you do miss out on that aspect. But then again...
And here's the other thing. Like, I mean, you hear these fines all the time, and then like the same league will like use those as like promotions. You know, if they're doing like sizzle reels or videos, you always see it, and then like you're like, you find that person like X amount of dollars, and now you're using it in your sizzle reel to promote your league. That's gross. It's like, yeah, no, let them do their thing. And you know, let Sebastian Vettel ride a moped if he wants.
Where did that come from?
That's another stupid penalty that happened in recent time that is completely ridiculous. But I'm just saying, let the athletes be athletes. Let them do their thing.
No, So, Tom, you're against the rule. You're for the rule.
Yep.
Daniel's against the rule.
Firmly.
And I'm on the fence about the rule. I'll see both sides. It's fine. I will be the mediator in this conversation. It's okay. Right. That was the last question that came in. So that is the end of that. We now need to do the reveal for Guess DCWho.
Should we say it at the same time? Because I think we both know this.
Okay.
Right. Let me give you the countdown.
Just the last name?
Yeah, let's just go for the last. Oh, you're going to go full name. Both
full
names.
name.
Full first name and last name. So in 3, 2, 1.
Andy Nahar.
No. Chris Durkin left and came back. And he's a homegrown.
Homegrown. I completely forgot about that.
It's Andy Nahar. Andy Nahar's a homegrown.
Oh, he is
so is
too.
Durkin. And so is Bill Hamid.
Yeah. But my play was Andy Nahar.
Oh, that's...
Damn.
Yeah!
No, the instructions were too broad.
So, Tom, I think you need to take your DC United hat off now.
No.
Hand it in at the next available...
Come and make me.
All right, I will do. I'll be there in 3 weeks.
Go get
Just
on that
wait.
plate. Okay, well, I technically wasn't wrong.
I know you weren't, but you weren't right either.
That out. You should have been like, oh, and he can't play for the U.S. team. Like,
then that would have just been one player.
Okay, he plays in outfield. That could have been Bill Hamid.
I did say defensive.
You did say defensive, but goalie's defensive. It's actually the most defensive. And now I'm getting defensive. God.
Let me just get my fishing rod out.
Yep.
Anyway, do you want a hug, Tom?
No. I'm over it. I'm totally fine.
Fine. And let me give you a hug down there.
I'm not annoyed.
It's okay. It's okay.
Here's my prediction. I was the points leader last year, and I'm going to be the Guess DCWho leader this year.
I mean,
that's.
I mean, the record so far isn't exactly great.
I have to point out that I still got that second week one. I'm just throwing it out there. I'll die on this hill. I got it right. We can go back and watch film.
Oh dear. Well, let's end the show there because we have gone into quite a bit of added time here. We've gone over 90 minutes. We're into Fergie time right now. So, Tom, after your little defensive episode there, where can the good folk find you?
Oh, guys, I have finally gotten off of the Snitch McConnell username to go with something a bit more podcast friendly. It has to do with the podcast, and it also describes my personality perfectly. So you may find me at Twitter at DCUK Unfiltered.
Very cool. Thank you for that. And then Daniel, where can the good folks out there find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Professor DCUK. And I just want to give a quick shout out, Sioux Falls City FC. It's going to be my brand new local club when I move down there later this summer. And I'm so excited to support local soccer and especially women's local soccer. Go Sioux Falls City FC. There you go.
Fantastic. Do tweet out about if they've got any websites or any social media. I'll get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And then for us as a whole, as an entity, like I said before earlier on the show, do come and join us at DCUK. It's dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. And as you can see, me and Daniel, we're wearing the official DCUK merchandise. If you just head over to bio.link/DC you'll see the links for merchandise. You'll see the link for the new version of the Cherry Blossom. Mine's in the wash. I was a little bit annoyed that it was in the wash because I was hoping to wear it for tonight, but wasn't dry any quicker. And then lastly, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the show, like this particular episode. And after Tom, you called out for some reviews last week or the week before, and we got a couple of 5-star reviews as well.
Did we really?
We did.
Usually people just ignore me when I say things. That's brilliant.
No, before we end the show, I do.
All the reviews are going to be like great, but not.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. But then we're worth it. So the latest reviews that came, we had 2 reviews come in. One just saying the best DCU podcast, which is fantastic. So great listen if you're looking for quality DCU content. And the second one was the headline is best podcast I've ever heard. You can't get much better than that. These guys are funny and knowledgeable. I've personally had the pleasure of meeting some of the cast live, and they are stand-up guys. Look no further for the best podcast out there.
Dude, wow. Drink.
Oh, that's a brilliant comment. So feel free to leave a podcast review because that would be absolutely epic. It helps us get out to a wider audience as well to get more fans of not only just this show, but of DC United as a whole as well. So that's the main thing about why this thing was created, was to get people to support DC United. So there you go. One last message in the chat. That was Tom's review.
I'd like to say it wasn't. So I did not do my own review. But yeah, I think I might go now. Huh? The other 2 guys are crap, but that guy Tom is just.
Well, it will be obvious when it's you. I mean, Tom's the Hardy. Oh dear. Right, let's end the show. Thank you guys for coming on again. It's been a blast of an hour and 45. Any last shout outs, Daniel?
Dukem DC, great Ethiopia.